I mean, I think you can always tell people what they can improve on. But the thing is, there's always something. So I sometimes think it's not even a point to bring it up sometimes.
The most important thing is relationship. So if you have relationship, if you have rapport, if you have trust, you have enough credit, then maybe you could bring these things up. But if you don't have credit, there's honestly is no point. The only point to bring these things up is because you want to build up the relationship. If it's just to tear the other person down, keep it to yourself. Melody 家庭 Podcast。Hello， 大家欢迎回到美乐迪家庭。It's been a while 。大家知道 I've been taking a break from my YouTube channel， 所以这是好像这半年的第一个美乐迪家庭。然后为什么我们今天要在一起聊呢？然后又有我们非常非常特别的嘉宾，就是我的弟弟。It's because 是妈妈的生日。The day that we are recording this, probably not the day that it will come out, but today is February 26th, 就是我们美丽妈妈张伟牧师的生日。然后他就跟我说，姐姐有没有可能我们为了妈妈的生日来录一集美乐迪家庭 So, we have to oblige the birthday girl. So here we are. 我是想说 in another future episode 我会再讲 what's been going on the last 6 months since I've moved to Tokyo. I'm in my room actually. 这是我 I'm on my futon. I share a room with my roommate. 但是这些东西我觉得我们可以再花另外一集来讨论 But for this episode 我就是觉得一定要来讨论我们家因为我们还有一个非常非常重要特别的嘉宾就是我的弟弟 Vincent He's here with us 难得他能够跟我们一起录这一集所以我就想说 I want to focus on our family dynamic So starting with the birthday girl What we're gonna do is take turns for each person Okay But for each person The rest of us 我们要来想三个东西 Think of 3 things, okay? The first thing is, what do you appreciate? What do you acknowledge and see and appreciate about them? Number 2, 这就特别一点，就是 what do you think she can improve on? What room for improvement? And then number 3, just kind of like a prophetic blessing, okay, for her new year. And we're going to do this for each person, but let's start with mom. Okay, so let's think of something that we really appreciate about her. I will start. Actually, I mentioned this at school today. People don't realize I'm in a ministry school right now called Awakening Asia School of Ministry. 今天呢，我们正在学校在讨论的是 culture of honor, how to honor our leaders. And 我就跟大家分享我自己在这方面的突破 my breakthrough in this area. And I think a lot of my breakthrough in this area is because of 妈妈。就是很多我学习怎么去尊荣我的领袖，是因为妈妈教我。其实 it's okay.有一些东西我们还不知道怎么做，因为其实很多东西是要学的。如果没有人教过你，其实你当然就是会不知道。So for example, I remember my mentor back at Bethel, Teresa Dedman, 每次母亲节的时候，或者妈妈 T 的生日的时候，我妈妈就会提醒我，嘿，你去送个信给 Teresa, because 她也是像你的属灵的妈妈。然后妈妈就会常常鼓励我做这种 acts of honor.honoring my leaders. 其实 if I didn't know that this is something that I could do, 我就不会想到嘛。所以其实我就觉得 it's important to teach about this also. 所以我很 appreciate 妈妈，就是她常常在我旅程里面，她就会教我很多 because 我也常常就会问她很多问题啦。在小小大大的事情，妈妈就常常会给我很多的智慧。所以谢谢妈妈 teaching me how to actually be like an adult.Sometimes we're like, how do I adult? Well, a lot of it you need to be taught by another adult who is adulting well, and the fact is actually not a lot of adults are adulting well. 就是也不见得很多就是长大的成人也知道怎么做个好人 right? 所以很感谢妈妈，就是她真的是个好人，她在教我怎么做一个好人。那这些东西就是很实在很实际，所以谢谢妈妈，就是很有智慧，在人际关系上特别常常就会帮助我有这种的看见跟学习。这是我想讲的。Alright, どうぞ就是请下一位。
I guess I'll go next.
我用英文，因为我中文没有那么好。I guess what I am grateful for Mama about is I think the way she treats people and the way that she will look at you, even if someone you don't know, and how she always like will treat you and talk to you with respect and love. Watching her have so many other people who also call her mom, and watching her how she's very personable to all of them. And I think it has also inspired me to also to try to have that connection with people when I teach people, my students or my friends in my community. And yeah, I think she makes me feel special whenever she talks to me, and I try to also emulate that to other people.
好，那我讲妈妈的一个特质，就是她真的就像一个妈妈，很自然的不管对方年纪多大或小，张伟就是很容易就会去接近，然后人家好像也不会有防备就是你的那种接纳的能力呀，我想这应该 actually 也是一个能力，从神来的。
Awesome. So, Mom, you are all filled up with love. You're all padded with love. So now we come in for the sucker punch. No, I'm just kidding. 我是觉得其实 it's also a good practice, you know, sometimes asking for feedback from people, and especially from the ones who know us the best. So I just superficially created an opportunity for us to give each other feedback. If we may, 我们要不要就来想想看 yeah, what are some areas that we think Mama could improve, knowing her better than anyone else on this planet, probably. Am I supposed to go first again?
Yes.
I think the only things I can think of are the things that you've already improved. Yeah, Mama knows, like, I mean, all of us know. 就是有一段时间的时候，我在教会全职，我们关系非常的紧张。We had a lot of tension in our relationship. We would like argue at church. Then we get in the car and we continue to argue. We go to the restaurant, we continue to argue. We go home, we continue to argue, you know, like just, man, never stop. And 都是教会的事 right? 教会的事情是可以成为家庭里面有时候常常争论的一个议题。So for me, I felt like we were just so different. Maybe at the time, 我常常会 feel misunderstood because, to be honest, hurt people, right? So I was hurt. So I was hurting her. So to be fair, 她怎么要在那个时候能够 open up to me? 其实她要很大很大的勇气。But I think at the end of the day, 其实真的还是有关系就没关系。所以当我感觉到 wow, mom is actually like opening her heart to me, that I can be vulnerable with her, 我觉得 that's really all I was looking for. 然后我们关系就越来越好。我觉得妈妈跟我在这方面已经进步非常非常多。Like sometimes when 我还是像一个刺猬，她就会真的就是很有勇气来拥抱我。You know what I mean? Like 有时候我觉得就是还是要这样，就是有的时候对方就是还是在他们那种防备的里面，或者一个受伤的里面，但我们有没有那种爱去break through that, you know, because really only love can. Instead of being defensive, instead of hurting back, being the bigger person. So I guess all I'm saying is like, thank you, Mama, for being the bigger person. Like now, like 我们的关系越来越好，也就是因为我觉得你真的就是一个妈妈 like 你越来越像一个妈妈 like 妈妈就是常常需要在孩子不可爱的时候去爱他 So 谢谢妈妈 Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I don't have too much I can say that Mama can improve on. One, I never really worked with her. I think my interactions with Mama have been mostly just from her being a mom. And I wouldn't say she needs to improve how she mommed me.
Really?
And I mean, like, you know, you can always say, like, I wish you were there more. I wish, you know, I think her being like an immigrant from Taiwan, you know, there's some language and cultural barriers that I feel like maybe she could have been better at connecting with my hip hop dance or like going to my competitions and whatever, yada, yada, yada. You know, there's always things that she could have improved on. But honestly, I wouldn't really change how she did it. And honestly, I love her for it. But I guess to say on that is I like that she's not perfect. And I think a lot of times her imperfections is also what makes her, you know? Because if we were all perfect, we would all just be boring people and we would all be the same. You know what I mean? So she always tries very hard to connect with me, even though sometimes I'm not great at following back. And I think she can just keep trying, you know? Yeah.
Just keep knocking on that door.
Yes. Yeah, you know, just keep at it, Mama. Okay. And I think in life too. I think Mama is not necessarily always the smartest person in the room or the most well-informed person, but she always talks from her heart, and I think that's where she shines. So, yeah.
Yeah.
如果真的要讲有什么可以改进的，我觉得神给你非常好的歌声，然后也有音乐。其实你曾经也写过很多很好的歌，唱过很多很好的歌。可是我们这几年回到台湾，可能也不是回到台湾啦，其实大概10年前你就开始做牧养了。从开始做牧养之后，我觉得好像你这方面你就放下来了。我觉得实在是有点可惜。当然我也有责任了哈，我觉得我也应该要帮你做一点录音啊，鼓励你啊，这样子呀。那我的录音技术是很差的，所以可能 Melody 要帮忙一下。但我会想鼓励妈妈，因为我知道妈妈以前是你学钢琴专业嘛哈，但是好多年后来你都不碰了。我后来才知道说原来你是有一种惧怕吗？因为过去的那个专业让你反而对这个东西开始有点内心的一种排斥。但是我讲的不是那个钢琴的技巧，我讲的是上帝给你的歌声的感动，给人的感动，那是一个恩赐，不要把它放下来了。那第二点有什么好改进的话，我想我跟你一起做吧。就是我们要减肥了。
已经开始了。
不是挑剔你胖而是你永远是最漂亮的。那个时候我要娶你的时候，我还说我喜欢找一个
白白胖
胖的，有那个官太太的样子，
有福气的，
有福气的对。不过现在好像这个福气有点发了所以我们两个都要一起那个要
为了健康。
对，是为了健康，我们可以更多长久的在一起。
Amen。
同时减肥要同时 build muscle 啦。You know, as you grow older, I think the muscle is really important.
妈妈就是前几天2个礼拜前，她想要练 muscle 就开始跳，结果跳一跳就把脚给扭了，没有方法。
你后来又跌了一跤。
All right. Okay, last thing, right? Let's just we're doing the sandwich rule, right? Good, bad, good. Hi, editing Melody here. 我们后来决定把这一段剪掉，因为感觉有一点重复，所以我们就直接跳到下一位咯。爸爸 we're gonna do you now, okay? What is our favorite thing or something that we appreciate about Baba?
Well, I'll go first this time. I like Baba's inquisitive mind. I think I've always liked how he has an interesting perspective no matter where he goes. Always connecting science to interesting interpretations of the Bible, using Chinese characteristics and things. I think Baba has always had a very unique perspective on life and theology and the world. And I always like talking to him about it. It's always fun trying to see where his mind is at or get his opinion on current things going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun talking to you about all these things. Yeah. Science, philosophy, psychology. Yeah, it's fun talking to you, Vincent. I enjoyed it too.
Thanks, Dad.
I love that Baba is like always willing to learn new things. 那天我才在跟我的朋友在聊这件事情 like 觉得你真的是非常有一个很大量学习的能力 so 我觉得这是我真的非常佩服你的一件事情 and your humility like 要能有一个学习的心态也就是因为你够谦卑 you know like 如果你觉得你什么都已经知道了那你就不会有这样子学习的心
我觉得很多人可能都不知道哈我觉得其实国瑞他其实看起来是好像是人生胜利组哈，很聪明啊，又很喜欢学习呀，做什么都好像都做得蛮好的哈。但其实我觉得他其实是一个蛮真的人，他因为他里面的很真实哈，所以其实做这些事情对他来讲不是好像是故意的，他就是 born with a 就是非常真实的人。他不管在学习上面在跟人相处上我觉得他 甚至他真的很容易去跟人家道歉啊。前一阵子他有一些行为上的一些没有很 proper 啊，没有很合适那样啊。我们谈了一下，他就可以去道歉，而且道歉的刚好到位哈。我光是这一点我就觉得在他这个年龄啊，我觉得是非常非常不容易啊。以前他能够道歉，Melody 呀哈，Vincent 啊哈，对他的同事啊朋友啊，我觉得这个是我最 admire 他的，他很真啊，他真的觉得是对的，我觉得他就真的会去做。好，这个是很了不起的事情。
谢谢妈妈，谢谢弟弟妹妹。
Now we get to say all the things that we wanted to say. No, okay. let's go into some ways that we think, knowing Baba, knowing him as well as we do, what are some ways that he can improve? I think 可能小的时候从孩子的角度去认识爸爸，不会那么清楚到他有这个一个倾向，但是过去这4-5年住在台湾，跟爸爸妈妈住在一起，才越来越明显了。我觉得，那这是我想要鼓励爸爸。我觉得你自己也知道，就是你会想要逃避的一个倾向。爸爸虽然on the outside 感觉很 tough, very strong, but sometimes 还是很多东西会可能让你蛮害怕的，所以你就会。或者你就会 run away， 或者你就会逃避，或者你就会看手机 或者你就是眼睛闭起来。Like that's the one that really bugs me the most. It's like when we're talking to you and you close your eyes and we're like, are you asleep? Are you listening to what I'm saying? When you don't have eye contact, 这也是一种逃避。Because eye contact is kind of vulnerable too 嘛，因为圣经也是说 the eyes are the windows to the soul。So I don't know. I wonder 会不会有时候你就是 if I close my eyes, then I'm not here. If I close my eyes, then they can't judge me. That's not true. It doesn't work that way. Like 没办法逃避。
That's his praying face. He's trying to ask God, like, give me the patience to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like he's thinking.
Maybe.
Oh, you are mocking me.
You're mocking me.
Vincent, you are mocking me.
No, I think he's giving you an out. But there's a time and a place for everything, right? If you pray, okay, then pray on your own time. But like right now, I'm sitting with you and I want to have this conversation with you. 我觉得 this is my feedback. Is like I would love if you can be present. Because I'm a pretty present person. I think 其实 for other people, sometimes the most healing thing, 或者让他们最感觉到爱 is simply your presence. Like you don't even need to say anything, right? It's the whole man and woman thing. Like man always want to fix the solution and woman just wants you to listen. 其实 it's true. Just sometimes I feel most loved when you can just sit there and be present and like listen and open your eyes. Like so that's what I would say.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Okay, Vincent.
I mean, I think sometimes a lot of times our strengths are our weaknesses and our weaknesses are our strengths sometimes. I think Baba is a very loud, outspoken person. And I think that has allowed him to become a speaker and make him very charismatic. And I think sometimes that could be received as like maybe he's too loud to some people or he could come off too strong, I guess. I think this is also stuff that he's gotten feedback from a lot, and I'm sure I think he has improved a lot throughout the years. His ability to like create space for other people and to uplift other voices, and for him to, take feedback. So yeah, same thing as Mama. I wouldn't really ask Baba to change anything, and plus I don't work with him either, so I deal with it less. When I visit him from home sometimes and he annoys me, it's also just like, like I haven't had a dad to embarrass me or make me annoyed, and sometimes it's nice, like, it's
nice
also
because of the
things.
Distance.
Exactly, so I'm over here from a privileged perspective. Yeah, I wouldn't ask you to change anything necessarily. Same thing as Mama. Like I think Baba could have more, perspective on like different things, like culturally or socially or all of these different things, but I wouldn't ask that of him because it would change who he is, and I think he's tried his hardest to, he's doing his best. So, we could all be better people, and but it's okay.
Thank you。
我从去年到今年，我一直都跟爸爸讲，爸爸最需要注意的就是一个急躁啊。其实我觉得爸爸这个急躁的这个性格在里面，有的时候也是就是 very charismatic 啦哈但是在决定事情，因为我觉得今年我觉得神真的把爸爸要提高到一个不同的高度了所以有时候这个急躁就会成为一个短板成为一个真的需要改变的一个事情那有的时候爸爸也是因为急他想要说，他因为急有时候他就不太能够听完全，他就已经要开始给意见啦他就因为他急所以我后来发现有的时候不见得说是他对人不好或怎么样，我觉得主要是因为他急，他就很想把自己的意见或什么要说出来或很怕他会忘记，他又急着要去做或者说他很事情很多，他就很快的就去 make decision 那像这种急，我觉得是可能是爸爸一个在今年如果能够 really take care of this part， 我觉得他会成为非常非常好的一个领袖
好的，谢谢妈妈。
Alright， 我们来到我们的最佳嘉宾 ，our honorary guest. That's you, Vincent.
I thought you were talking about yourself.
I'll be last. 我们来讲讲我们最喜欢我们家弟弟的。
我觉得我们家弟弟是一个很我觉得我所看见的男生的里面，我觉得我弟弟是最温柔的人。我觉得他是一个会让人家一看了就很喜欢不仅仅是他的外表，还有就是他里面常常有一颗很温柔怜悯的心，这个我觉得在男生的身上比较少看见他特别有那份温柔。
我觉得 Vincent 很棒，就是他还蛮能够讲出他心中的一些想法的呀，很诚实。所以我常常有时候跟他讨论事情，他也都会就跟我谈他心中的疑惑啦或者想法啦，我们沟通得很好呀，而且他也不会说好像跟你吵或者他很坚持或怎么样，他也蛮能够听的啦。你也有一个很好的一个求知的心。
Yeah, Vincent is the most non-judgmental person I know. Yes, Jesus said, "Do not judge." 我觉得 Vincent 在这方面真的还是比 most people that I know 做得比较好。You really just don't judge, just like what you proved today. You just kind of accept people the way that they are, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. You see the beauty in the mess. You accept the mess. 我觉得你也是非常 not just tolerant, but like you are able to take what people give you, good or bad. So that makes you a very good friend and reliable in that sense too, because你不会就是把人家放下来. You don't just like abandon people. You don't burn bridges. You're a very good friend.
Amen.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
我就忽
Tell
然
me what
想
I
到
suck at. Go for it. I know there's
妈
so
妈要再补
many.
充一下，我就记得刚刚在姐姐在讲的时候，我就想到弟弟还在高中的时候，那时候有一次他想要帮助一个人，他后来拿了妈妈的 credit card， 然后去跟我讲说：“妈妈，我可不可以去帮助这个人？”帮他在有一段时间要他的 grocery 很多的东西要去帮助他这样。我刚刚忽然想到这件事，我觉得好有意思就是说他是真的去 care， 因为那时候他其实就是高中生一个男生，但他会去想到别人要去怎么去帮助别人度过一个难关那时候他后来跟我讲的时候，我就说好，妈妈很高兴你有这样的心。这样子去帮助到别人，我觉得这一份的爱心 是很对我来讲是很特别，我也一直都很有印象。
你的记忆怎么跟我的不一样？
我都记得这些事。
妈妈都记得好的吗？
我记得的是，我看到我的 credit card 上面有好多的花费不是我做的。后来我要去报警，说我的卡片被盗用了，然后突然想起来，要不要去问问 Vincent？
好好笑。
好啦，不过如果你的动机是好的，我们也就 OK 了，Yeah。
我记得弟弟的动机是好的。呀、好，我也要来说说 Vincent。好，我觉得 Vincent 可以改变的部分，我觉得也是因为他就是从来他很少去批评论断人，这也是他的 character。但我想他年纪越来越大，马上又要结婚啊，有自己的家庭，我是希望说他能够越来越 decisive 一点。好，有时候在家庭里面要成为一家之主啊，要成为一个男人 make decision 的时候，有的时候可能他还是必须要更 firm 一点，去坚持他觉得是对的东西。好，所以我觉得这个可能是我目前在想到我儿子可能可以 improve 的部分。
I agree.
我其实就是想让 Vincent 知道，就是说我们都很 proud of 你，你能够用这个做你自己喜欢做的事。我记得 Vincent 跟我讲说，他的 dream job 就是要 dance 跟 teach dancing。虽然好像每天这样跳舞跳到半夜这样都是满身大汗回来，但我就觉得他好像很 enjoy。那时候我记得你有跟我讲说，这是你的 dream job， 我就很高兴。这不是说你有什么多大的成就做 engineer 当 doctor， 而是说 you find your love。
Amen。
然后你又可以去照顾这么多小朋友，每个礼拜有这些上 hundreds of kids，然后 you dance with them， you teach them， 其实他们也 look up to you 我想 Vincent 很多的小朋友也会 look up to you。 所以你自己的话，我想如果要给你什么的话，就是说你自己也要就是 be careful， 就是 there's a lot of people looking up to you。 你要 be a good role model for them. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I thought of like 2 years ago when you came to Taiwan, and then we went to like this conference at Yilan. Okay, and the deal was that all 4 of us would be on stage. Like we would, do our thing, we would serve or we would share or whatever. And me being, like the elder sister, the big sister, like I never even think about not doing what I'm told, right? It never crosses my mind. But I just remember that day, like right before the service started, you were like, just kidding, I'm not gonna do this. Do you remember that? You're like, I'd rather go to the night market. And like Mama and Baba let you. Do you remember that?
I think so.
I have to be honest, like I was so pissed.
Oh, nice.
Because I always felt like you got away with, these sort of things. Where it never even crossed my mind to get away with this sort of thing. Okay, so my feedback for you is, I think in your heart, you probably actually knew that this wasn't what you wanted to do before that moment. But you waited until that moment to spring it on us. And I think my feedback for you would be truer to what you want and communicate what you want before it becomes a problem for other people. Because at that point, for me, it suddenly felt like you were letting go of a responsibility, and it was now placed on my shoulder, which is probably not fair for me to feel that sort of pressure. But that's what I felt, okay, in the moment. So my suggestion for you, room for improvement, is like, Vincent, I think you actually knew. There are things that in your heart, or that your heart knows, but maybe you need to talk to your heart more. I don't know if this is that little story or situation was just a sample of maybe some bigger things in your life, but like, maybe sometimes you could talk to yourself more. Like maybe you have some responsibilities, maybe you have certain things or relationships or whatever pressures or stresses on your life. Don't wait until you can't take it anymore, until you're finally there, to be like, yo, I don't want to do this. Like, talk to your heart more, be honest with yourself more from the beginning, you know? So that, and then like communicate that with the people around you who actually want you to be successful. They want you to thrive. They also want to thrive, you know? So it's actually being fair to them if you communicate with them how they can thrive being true to yourself and them being true to themselves, you know? So that would be my suggestion is like, communicate with yourself and with other people sooner than later. Is that fair?
Will do.
Wow. Wow.
It's great.
All right.
Let's talk about Melody.
All right, I'm excited for this.
Okay, well, Melody 她是我们家的一个执行者吧，就是她是真正很会做事，而且她很 detail 呀。我想这个可能跟她从小 homeschool 也有关啦，但 homeschool 也会养出很多不一样的孩子啊。不过 Melody 因为我从小她就是那个，我就丢一个 menu 给她，你自己 study 那个 manual， 然后你自己去学，他就学了那个怎么做音乐啊，那个机器啊，那个很多 detail 的东西，非常 detail 的东西，他都自己学了。然后 problem solving， 呀，所以这个是他的一个强处吧。然后他也很喜欢看书，呀，他真的安静的下来。我真的现在已经很少看到年轻人可以看这么厚的书。呀，他居然还可以，而且还有一点，他还会写日记。这个也让我太惊讶了。我从小到大最讨厌就写日记，反正我就觉得他好像有很多的特点都不是我跟你给他的，他自己somehow神就给他这些蛮奇特。因为我是一个很讨厌细节的人，我都是从这个5000公尺高度去看东西的，那他是那种能够到nitty gritty detail，
能高能低，
他是真的能高能低啦呀，所以我觉得这也是上帝给你的恩赐呀。那我是觉得你也会是一个很棒的妈妈，现在就要开始祝福了哈。不过我觉得 Melody 她就是很喜欢孩子，然后她很细心，我相信她将来也真的就是
好太太，
会成为一个好母亲，好妈妈这样，好太太，
谢谢。
Vincent.
I think Jijia is always very passionate. I think she's always been someone who has a lot of emotional range, you know, and I think because of that, she has a lot of opportunities to pull from a lot of emotions for whatever she needs, you know. And I think Jijia has she wears her heart on her sleeve, so I never feel like Jijia is hard to read or I don't know what's going on with her. I usually believe whatever I'm getting from her. And I think that's great. I think she's a very genuine person. And that shines through in her art and in the way she connects with people. And yeah, I think those are what I like about Jijia, is that she's very Jijia, very, very Melody.
One of a kind Melody.
Yeah.
The only kind. Yeah, Melody 在妈妈的眼中是 the only kind. 这个最漂亮、最有智慧。好，而且我觉得她就像刚刚在访问的当中，我就觉得 Melody 每一次说话都 to the point 好像就是可以 nail down 事情，然后就刚好是那个 point 我觉得她很有这个能力，能够看得出来我觉得这需要一个智慧。在她这个年龄，我就觉得我的女儿是不仅仅是很美丽的孩子，而且真的是很有智慧的人。我就越来越觉得她的智慧开始越来越丰富。以前觉得她比较在做事情上面，但我觉得这一次她到了日本，然后我就越来越发现她改变，她开始 care 这个 people，到一个程度，我觉得哇这个孩子真的是很不一样我觉得他是一个很能够在生命当中不断的成长的一个人我觉得就像他写日记一样，我觉得这是需要常常 go back to 他的 heart去反省的人才做得出来像这样子的事情所以我觉得我的女儿是very special我没有看过像这样子的一个女生，很特别。
Wow, thank you.
那我们来
I'm ready.
祝福。哦，不是哦，要讲到他要改进的。
来，爸爸，
Yes, please give it to me.
妈妈先吧。
我最后
OK，Vincent，、
I guess I would encourage you to, I always say this, but, to take more risks, go out of your comfort zone more, try things and experience things for yourself. But then again, like I said, I feel like the fact that you don't try those things is also what makes you you. And I wouldn't ask you to change who you are, you know what I mean? But these are always just encouragements that I give to you. Because I always just I always want you to be happy. And I always want I'm always rooting for you. And yeah, I always encourage you to do that. So yeah, that's probably what I would say.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
You're the best cheerleader.
就鼓励你给自己更多的 explore 吧，更多的去，就像 Vincent 讲的，去 journey， 去探索。还有这个人际关系上面的话，也是有时候也的确是需要很 vulnerable 呀。那这个也是，就像你讲，我会逃避啊，我觉得有时候这可能也是你的，我也不知道，
我有逃避吗？
还是你
没有，
你没有也许不是吧，也许不是逃避呀，爸爸是逃避了。我还记得那个时候，那个谁啊 ，Dennis Silk 来我们教会，他来教我们那个 confrontation， 然后 Melody 就说：“哇，我学会了，我要开始去跟人家 confront。”好像你拿到了一个榔头，大家都变成钉子了。maybe 你需要做的是给别人更多的空间吧 ，maybe。OK， 好，讲完了，我不太会讲。
OK， 谢谢爸爸。
我觉得Melody 真的是在很多上面都很有成长，但是我还是常常在帮助 Melody 一件事情，就是不要 judge too quickly 哈。就是因为 Melody 很聪明，就是他很多的时候就是 to the point 这样子啊，但是呢，这个也很快的会带出一个 judgmental 的一个 spirit， 或者是就是很快的下来了一个成见啊，这样子，我觉得这个可能要 be very careful 啊，就是不要太快的下成见、下断语啊。我也觉得，因为你跟爸爸真的很像哈。就是小心那个快，小心那个急躁啊！因为你是一个很大的孩子，就是神给你很多的天分跟聪明的孩子，我觉得特别在这个时候可能也要更慢一点，尤其是在判断人的时候。
That's good. Yay, that concludes our activity for today. Did you guys enjoy that?
我最喜欢讲建议的这一块，在尊荣的里面说出诚实话，我觉得是很重要的。弟弟，你有没有觉得被帮助到呢？
Yeah, I just like talking to you guys, I think I don't get to connect with you guys as often, so these activities are always fun to reflect. Personally, I think you can always tell people what they could improve on. But the thing is, there's always something. So I sometimes think it's not even a point to bring it up sometimes because there's always going to be something else. You know what I mean? I think if we were to be honest, every day we can bring up something that they could be better at because we're not perfect, So yeah, but I think it's always good to reflect and to be self-aware a little bit so that maybe we can stress each other out a little less.
有关系就没关系啦，没关系就有关系 right? So I think, of course, there's always room for improvement, but the most important thing is relationship, right? So if you have relationship, if you have rapport, if you have trust, then, you have enough credit. Then maybe you could bring these things up. But if you don't have credit, there's honestly is no point. Yeah. If there's no trust, if there's no relationship, there's no foundation, there is no point. Because the only point to bring these things up is because you want to build up the relationship. Like you want the relationship to go from point A to point B. Like it's always moving forward. And I think that's the only reason why we would bring these sort of things up. If it's just to tear the other person down, keep it to yourself, right? Like there's no point. But if it's to build up the relationship, build the trust, build the love, like I think these sort of things are helpful to build trust actually. And the sandwich rule, right? Like say something kind throughout the day and maybe once in a while throw in something, but then finish it off with something kind. Like I think that's always helpful. 好的，谢谢大家. And actually it's like midnight for Vincent, right? It's like super late right now. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little
Vincent.
sick today, so yeah, thank
get
you guys
well.
though. Bye bye bye. Love you,
bye,
mama. Bye,
Vincent.
Jijie.
完全把找不到的爱，我要依靠你。